Ever wonder why some guitars sound just like Jerry or Bob while others don't, no matter how many scales they practice? Well, it's not about playing more notes, it's about playing the right sounds. In this video, I'm going to break down 5 essential ones that every beginner needs to know. But before we dive in, it's important to remember it's not about sounding just like Jerry or Bob. It's about developing your own unique sound. The key is to recognizing the sounds you love, understanding them, and knowing how to apply them to your own playing. So this first one is thought of as the Grateful Dead sound. So when you take the major scale and flat the 7th note, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right here, so you make it 1 fret lower, that is a thing called mixolydians. And if you don't know what this is, that's a fancy sounding name. It's literally Greek, but we don't need to worry about the name. And you don't have to worry about, what is this from? How does it mean? What's the theory behind it? All the fancy stuff. You just need to know it's that one note down here instead of this. And what that does is it gives more space right here. It's the separation. If you have this note right here, all it wants to do is pull to this note right here, the root note. It's like there's this gravitational pull. When you pull it back, it kind of lessens that pull and it opens things up. So therefore, the Dead would use it all the time for their songs in general, but especially the jams. Like 9 out of 10 of their jams were revolving around this scale. So this is like the key scale to know. And once you know it in one place, and this was Dark Star, my example, that's an A mixolydian, but you could play it for E, right? And then you just play it right here. And you just move that same shape. For C, same shape. You just move it to wherever there's a C. So just find one little spot, get used to it, and you just start moving around and you start expanding from there. So the first sound to know is that mixolydian sound. These Grateful Dead sounds are a game changer, but to start playing full songs, check out my free mini course, Grateful Guitar, Strum the Dead in just 3 days. I break down Ripple step by step so you can strum it with confidence. Just check it out in the description down below. Now this next sound has to do with chords because they rarely just played them as is. So say we took something like Sugary. Right? So they're adding a little something in there, and you can even keep it easier and do this. And what am I doing there? But I'm just adding this note right here. And that is what they call the 4th in relation to that chord. And that gives it a sus sound. So it's just real quick, a passing sus chord, and it makes it, it just gives it more movement. It's something that Jerry and Bob would do all the time in their playing. And to look at it in even an easier way to apply it, something like Sugary, we could change Sugary, did I say Sugary? Sugary. We could do it in A, right? So down here. And then we can do it down here. So open, so just A to D. Right? And that just shows you that D shape. You may have already played that. That's a sus thing there, and that is not something that you just do when it's written somewhere. You see a chord chart, oh, it's in there. They would just throw that stuff in there all the time and then know when to do it. You just got to try it out and see if it sounds good. So if you want to make these Dead sounds a real part of your playing, you do it by learning songs. But how do you do that real fast? Well, I'm going to link to a video at the end that will give you some ideas. Now, when it comes to playing riffs, this next one is something that is the foundation for most of them. So what is something that these 3 riffs have in common? It is an octave, right, as the foundation of it. So when you play a note and you go up to the next same letter, that is what they call an octave. So in this case, G to G. If you go up the scale, just a major scale, right? G, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Those are all the different notes. And then 8 is the same one. So it repeats again. That's why it's called the octave, because it's the 8th scale degree. It's just like an octopus, octagon, octave. And you can see, right? Right? And then that was They Love Each Other, right? And then China Cat, Sunflower. And then what I do up here, Dark Star. So same thing, you're just playing an A. And so many more. I mean, I'd say like the majority of their like kind of real rhythmic riffs like that revolve around the octave. So when you get familiar with playing octaves, you will get down a key part of the dead sound. Now, there's something else that Jerry and Bob would do with chords all the time. Something like this. And that is breaking chords up. You can think of it as playing these arpeggios, another fancy word. Just means the chords broken up. So instead of just playing, we're doing morning do here, just D, C, and G. In this case, they'd often play it as D sus2, another type of sus chord, not a sus4, like adding this note here, but if you take this one down, sus2 instantly gives you that more spacey morning do sound. But I digress. All you need to do is take whatever chord you're doing, however you're going to play it, as a major or sus2, and just throw in random stuff. So sound number 4 is just playing some chord arpeggios, just breaking them up, and it will make you sound much more like the Dead. Now when you start getting into improvising, this scale is the easiest to make it sound good. So all I was doing was taking an E minor pentatonic scale like this. And I'm playing it over an E7 chord, right? For trucking, like jamming out that part. But this gives you a little more edge than playing the major pentatonic. There's 2 different ones, you get 2 options, but the minor one kind of works better here. But instead of just playing it right here, I was playing it like this. And that is a diagonal pentatonic because you're diagonally going across the fretboard. So it's taken right here, right here, right here. So 3 different positions, kind of like the sweet spots. And you've got these strong fingers that are mostly kind of guiding you through it all. And this is actually the same as G major pentatonic, a huge sound for the Dead, especially playing just in G. But like all the stuff, you can just move it around. So if you focused on this note right here, the G, right there, and then maybe move it down here. There are those octaves again. Right? And that gives you that Dead sound. And by playing it that diagonal way, you can kind of add in these slides and hammer-ons and pull-ups a lot more easily. And if this is all new to you, that's a lot. It can be overwhelming, but just take your time to kind of learn it up, back and forth, and then really get it down so you don't have to even look at the fretboard. You get it all memorized. You don't have to look at a chart or anything like that. And, just start playing on with the backing track and applying it, and you'll hear it. Maybe improvising some sweet music with it sooner than later. And, these Grateful Dead sounds, they can totally transform the way you play guitar, but just knowing what they are isn't enough, because when it all comes down to it, it's really all about learning songs. Now, there's a specific way I do it that helps me pick up Dead tunes insanely fast. So check out this video here where I show you exactly how I learn songs quickly and how you can do the same.